Greetings and welcome to my channel. It's the 31st of August and that means end of month bot haul. And what have you got this month, wldnas? Well, thing is, you've already seen the majority of the things that I bought this month with my TFNation haul video. But I was in two minds whether to do an end of month bot haul because I don't really like going over the same stuff twice. But when I thought about it, I only showed you the stuff which was for the most part was still sealed in boxes because I hadn't actually opened them and played with them at that point, but I have now. So I've got, you know, lots of plastic robots around me and a few other things that I got outside of TFNation, so I might as well sit down and do the end of month bot haul proper. So as I said, I went through the TFNation haul separately and possibly explain the whys and wherefores of why I bought them. Now I've played with them, I can actually pass judgment on them and tell you what I think of them. There's a few other things besides, but I don't want this because I mean my whole video last month ran on for like over 50 minutes, so I'm trying to keep this one short if I can, if such a thing is possible. But anyway, let's get into it. Right, so August. TFNation, but before we get into that, on the 1st of August, in fact 5 minutes after midnight, I placed my KTRT order because there was a bot I'd seen that had come out from the Turning Mecard line, and it's a new figure from Turning Mecard W, which is the second series of Turning Mecard, and it's a combiner, and it's HG, it's a high grade bot, so it's a proper transforming toy, and the idea was I wanted to buy it and have it arrive before I set off for TFNation, so I deliberately bought the figure at 5 minutes past midnight on August the 1st because the guy I bought it from, Mr. Soon, who's one of my main Korean plastic crack dealers, I buy a lot of things from him, a lot of KTRT bots, because Korea's like 8 hours ahead of us. By the time I bought the item, he would hopefully be getting up out of bed. We'll be checking his emails. Oh, he's got this order, and he would have bloody processed it and shipped it out. And as it happens, when I went to work the following day, there was a message from Mr. Soon because he's really good at communicating with the people. He sends you a really nice message to say, "Oh, I've got your order and I've shipped it." Blah blah blah. He confirmed the item had been shipped, and it arrived on August the 8th. Now, I didn't unbox it then. I took it to TFNation in the bar on Saturday night when Chris and Nat and all the other Transformers and such guys were doing those live unboxings. I bought it along and I unboxed my toy afterwards and got some very strange looks from the people around because this thing is rather bizarre, and it appeared in bot mode, so I handed it round so people can have a quick go with it, and then they proceeded to take it apart and transform it into individual modes, and Gary Hopeless Chatter was having a go with it and having some fun. And he's quite impressed with my KTRT bots. And Gary Churm, Mr. HotrodneyPrime, one of them, transforms into, well, a robotic sphinx. And he was going like, "What is it? What is it?" And he was showing it to another random convention goer and trying to ask them what it was, and it was very bizarre. But anyway, here it is, Turning Mecard HG Gryphinx. Now this is the combined mode. You've got Griffin up the top and Sphinx at the bottom. Sphinx becomes the trousers, Gryphinx becomes the torso. As KTRT goes, this is very good. I mean, it's got the usual ratcheting, it's got thigh swivels, it's got bicep swivels, so it's got intermediate articulation joints, it's even got a ball jointed headlock. Look, that does everything. Really fun, quite complex transformation because obviously each bot does three things. The two bots in this, you've got like a car mode, and then you've got the individual mechanical modes, and then they combine together to form this large bot. It's big, it's heavy. Let's do a size comparison. Let's get Mr. Combiner Wars Leader Class Megatron down, and as you can see, it's rather large. It's a great toy. I've already reviewed it. fantastic figure. Great thing to have in the collection, and really glad to have got it, and don't regret buying it at all. Fantastic thing. So that was on the 8th. Now we get into TFNation. So on Friday the 11th, obviously I got there on the Thursday, but on Friday things kicked off. Went to get the old wristband, and went down to the in the foyer next to the main entrance. Well, they was near the Monarch entrance. They had like the little reception for the TFNation, and went and got your ticket, and you got your TFNation booklet, which you know, it's got lots of you know, artwork and write-ups and things in it, so that was really good. And then I pre-ordered the convention t-shirt, and there it is. And as I mentioned in my haul video, if I mentioned it, I went down. I pre-ordered it, but I hadn't prepaid for the t-shirt, and I was expecting to do a card payment or a PayPal payment, but as it happened, they didn't have the card reader to hand, so I had to then nip up to the money, break into my convention cash, get some money out to pay for the t-shirt. So that was that. Now going on to the Friday night in the bar, I was sat in a group of people up in the bar, and Gary Chun comes over and says, you know, Mr. HotrodneyPrime, he says, oh, I've got something for you, and he hands me this Turning Mecard Prince Kong. Now he opens up into a little robotic gorilla, and he's one of the original Turning Mecard mechanimal figures which come with the card game. Now I like to collect the bigger proper transforming HG and junior versions, but this is what Turning Mecards is really about. It's about these little automorph things, which little cars. You have this card on the ground. It's got like a metal strip in it, and it's got like a magnetic switch in the bottom of the car. It runs over it, click, and it springs open, and it flips up the card, and you know, you can read the there's 3 different attributes on the card, depending on which attribute this one's from. Now you see it's got a little blue icon then, so this guy is with Blue Land is the team that he's with. Yeah, so I wasn't really going to get any of these, but I think, I don't know, I might get some more of these, I don't know. Gary has got a car boot sale next to him where a guy's got a load of these in and selling them for what, £1.50. So Gary really loves these things because they remind him of bot shots, and he really likes his bot shots. So yeah, I got that. So thanks, Mr. Churm. Thanks, Gary, for giving me a proper Turning Mecards mechanimal. So that was on the Friday. So now we're moving on to the real meat and potatoes of this whole video with the Saturday and the convention hall itself. So I got in the queue 9 o'clock. I wasn't right at the front. I was sort of like a couple of ways back in the queue. But when they opened the doors at was it 9:30, I managed to get in and went straight over to the In Demand toy booth, which was directly on your left as you came in through the door. And the main target of my haul for the day was to get Trypticon. Now, bit of a funny story with Trypticon. I didn't unbox him until I got home, and when I unboxed him, he was in a semi-disassembled state to get inside the box, and I started putting him together, and then I suddenly noticed the hip joints have been put on back to front. So I thought, oh bloody hell, you know, because I'd seen this video from Mike Mouse, is it Mike Mouse 74, who did this video where apparently there's a faulty batch of Trypticons going around, and there's some batch numbers that stamped into the box, and he gave out a list of the good batch numbers and the bad batch number, and mine was allegedly one of the good batch numbers. But I thought the legs had been put on back to front, so I got my screwdrivers out and swapped the hip joints over, and put them back on. And then I was looking at the arms and I thought, well, the arms are on back to front as well. I thought, what gives? How can this be possible that both the hips and the arms are on back to front? And you look at the arms, they're on these big flappy panels, which are all pin joints. So I was scratching my head, thinking, how the hell am I gonna swap these over? And then I was looking at the torso, and I suddenly realised that the head was on back to front. And the reason the head was back to front, because it was the only way they could squeeze it into the box. And because the giveaway was that, you know, his head was facing that way and you've got these spines which are on his back. And then it suddenly twigged. I thought, oh no, I know what I've done now. His head's around the wrong way. So as soon as I turned the head round the right way, then everything made sense. Now the arms were on the right way, and so the legs would have been around the right way had I not swapped the hip joints around. So I had to get the screwdrivers out again, swap the hip joints back, and it was like, oh! So I basically confused myself and made a right mess of my toy straight out the pot. But anyway, he's all right. There's some bits like this doesn't fit in properly, and this thing keeps flopping out as well. There's a few QC issues on him, but I wanted to get him anyway because, I mean, come on, it's a big robotic dinosaur. Who doesn't want one of those? He's very good. His mouth doesn't shut properly and it only opens so far. And you get all these like loads of stickers to put on him. And how long did it take me? It took me about, what was it, an hour and 49 minutes to put the stickers on. And he's got light piping, orange light piping, and yet you put a gold sticker over his eye. I mean, what's the deal with that? Anyway, he's something that I bought. One of the first things that I got from In Demand. And the main reason why I wanted this guy is because I wanted this guy. I wanted full tilt. Now, there's a very specific reason why I really wanted this guy. It's because I think he looks very much like a car from my RC car collection. So, I don't know whether you can see it. But, you see, the thing is, that this car has got like the wraparound windscreen, which is quite a distinctive feature. And then you look at full tilt. Yeah, this one's got the Repro labels on, because obviously I've got the Repro labels. And it's got the wraparound windscreen. And I think that these two vehicles look very alike. Not least of the fact that this guy's got purple on him. But yeah. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted this guy, because it's another Transformer that looks like a car from my RC car collection. And this, by the way, is a Yokomo YZ870C Super Dogfighter, if you want to know what it is. So it's a Japanese competition buggy from the early 90s. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got 3 differentials, oil-filled shocks, titanium pieces. Is it titanium pieces it's got on it? It's quite a swish buggy, but I wanted it, so full tilt, because I think it looks very similar. So that was that. But obviously we're still talking like first thing on the Saturday morning, so I didn't just buy Trypticon from In Demand. I also bought Perceptor. He's a neat little figure. Yeah, he does all the modes, all 3 modes. Really cool figure, love the colours. Yeah, he's a headmaster. That's just the Titan's Return gimmick. Decent figure. You see, no loose joints on this one. Really cool, yeah, like him. And then I got Brainstorm. Now, I could have bought Brainstorm last year, but they were doing him for 25 quid, and I didn't buy one, and I regretted it, because then, it was a Walgreens exclusive in America, and we didn't get them at retail over here, and I regretted it. And then you saw the price they were going for on eBay, because the scalpers had got hold of them and were asking stupid money for them. Anyway, so I kind of hoped I'd be able to get one at TFNation this year, and so it was. In Demand had a couple of them, and I managed to get one for 20 quid, which I was quite happy with. Wanted to get this guy because Brainstorm is one of the guys I'm doing the character mold set collecting for, and this was the last mold I needed, so I now got all the Brainstorm molds. So I was really glad to get hold of him. Yes, it's a rework of the blur mold, but he looks good with it. I mean, he looks better in robot mode than he does in alt mode, but no, the colours are absolutely lovely. Rocking that green teal really well, and the sort of like the sort of like the grey and the bone white. Really liking it. Good head sculpt. Again, he's a little bit loose. Legs aren't fantastic, but fantastic figure. Great reuse of the mould. And the last Wave 4 Titans Return Deluxe Cup. Really liking this. I love the engineering on this thing. Looks really cool. Great figure. Again, excellent colours, but yeah. Slightly got floppy hips. A lot of Titans Return figures got floppy hips. This guy's alright though. Really liking him. Cool transformation. Yeah, when you look at the Takara one, I think the colours are more sort of G1 accurate. And he comes with his sort of target master dude. But I'm quite happy to have this one. Glad I got him. And then I had to get the Clonebot 2-pack. We've got Cloudraker and Wingspan. Now, I already have Pounce. And Pounce, I absolutely adore Pounce. I think Pounce is amazing. Now, you think with these guys being clone bots, they're supposed to be very, very similar to each other. Especially like Wingspan is supposed to be, you know, virtually identical to Pounce. But to be honest, this guy is awesome. He's brilliant. He's fantastic. And this guy is okay. Not quite so good. His alt mode is a bit blockier, if that's a thing, because they've basically put the wings on the underside of his legs. And his bird mode isn't quite as cohesive as Pounce's, you know, big cat mode. So I don't like him quite as much. And Cloudraker is just a robot folded up into the shape of a spaceship, as the G1 one was. So he's all right. He's pretty good. They're not as good as I was expecting them to be. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this guy's way better. So yeah, they're all right. The only problem I've got now is how to get hold of Fast Clash. He's the only guy I need, and I don't think they're going to sell him individually. I mean, I know they're releasing a 2-pack. Takara releasing a 2-pack with the 2 Autobot ones in, with a slight, deco change. Instead of having the white, they've gone for like a pale beige or whatever it is on them. So I don't know how I'm going to get him. Whether or not I'm going to have to buy the one out of the multi-pack for, you know, scandalous amount of money. But the real irony is, these guys cost me 35 quid for the pair, which was quite dear, because the price they're going to retail at in the US is probably around about 20 quid. And I bought this guy for just over 35 quid on his own. So I got these guys for slightly less than I bought this guy for. And yet, I prefer this guy. Go figure. But still didn't regret getting them. They're still good little bots. I just don't like them quite as much as I think I might have done. Okay, so we're still going with in-demand toys. I then got Roadburn and Seaspray. These are neat little figures. I didn't want to get the Bumblebee versions of this mold, so I had to go for the Roadburn or Chase version. Great little figure. Transformation's a bit fussy on this one, I think. Really, getting everything lined up properly, especially the legs. And Seaspray's just very, very solid. He's a very solid little bot. Great little Legends figure. So yeah, glad I got those guys. And as I was one of the earliest people to get into the haul, and fortunate enough, you know, to get at some of the good stuff, that some of the stuff that was in short supply on the in-demand store, I managed to get Shuffler. Now, I wanted Shuffler because, I mean, come on, it's a little robotic elephant. I'm not really into these Titan Master things, but this guy's really neat. I mean, he stores the head underneath. And there's the little Titan Master dude. And, yeah. And he turns into a tank. And it's really, really neat. So, wanted to get him. And there was only a handful of these at TFNation. I just got lucky. And, you know, it was one of the first things I picked up. I mean, I think I picked this guy up before I got most of those other guys from In Demand. Because I knew that he would be very much in short supply. And I was fortunate enough to pick one up. And then I got me Titan's Return stuff. I'd filled my boots for Titan's Return, and I had to go back. I had to sort of take a stock take, update my list, and then go back in for me the Last Night stuff. Now, there was only a handful of Last Night figures that I hadn't already got that they had. And so I got me Scorn. Now, I'm a huge fan of Scorn. Age of Extinction Deluxe Scorn is one of the reasons why I became a Transformers collector, because when I saw that toy was coming out, it made me want to buy it. And Spinosaurus is one of my favourite dinosaur species. So when I heard they was doing a Voyager version, I was quite excited. It's a good figure. It's not as good as the Deluxe though. There's a few things. I mean, I've got him in dinosaur mode here. I mean, yeah, he's got all the articulation you could ever want on the head. Very, very spiky. He's got the extra spines coming out. He's got these big grey, you know, holes in his side. You know, there's big grey spaces in the side. Not really keen on that. The transformation's a bit unusual. Doesn't really peg in that well in a few places. And the robot mode has got a lot of dino kibble hanging off it in ugly, you know, unsightly places. So, and I don't like that bill chin guard he's got on his head sculpt either. That's not I'm not really a fan of that. But I would have bought this anyway because it's Scorn, and I've got it. He's another Dinobot to my collection. He's all right, just not as good as the Deluxe, but still, I'm glad I got him. And then there was Nitro, or Nitro Zeus. This is a really cool little bot, and it was one of the few figures that I actually opened at TFNation and played with at the convention itself. The rest of them, they were pretty much sealed until I got home and had a go with them. So I already had a go with this. When I bought it, as I mentioned in my other haul video, there was only one left on the in-demand stall, and I saw some guy pick it up and start walking over to the cashier with it. But then he looked at it and then put it back down because the head was missing. So I dashed in, picked it up, and it wasn't until I got back to the room that I noticed that the head was missing. So I picked the box up, shook it, and sure enough I could hear something rattling around inside. So I opened it up, and sure enough, there was the head. So you stick it on, and all's good with the world. I really like this mould. It's really fantastic. Not a headmaster. It's got a headmaster attachment, but it doesn't transform into, you know, a little Titan Master. So, but you can put other headmasters on it if you want. Nicely painted. Transformation's really involved in this guy. I took it down on the bar on Saturday night again in the group, the Transformers and Such group. I let Gary Hopeless Chatter have a play with this, and he was fumbling around with it for ages trying to figure out how it worked. It's got really unusual, you know, joints, because obviously you've got the front of the plane and the back of the plane, and these are the sides of the plane, and the wings are folded up round the jetpack, and the tail section's hanging off his arse. So he's got a really unusual transformation, but he's a really cool looking bot. interesting transformation. The plane mode's not awful, you know, it's not too bad. There are certainly a lot worse plane formers that you can get. When you're transforming him, some bits pop off, especially these bits, because if you bend them the wrong way, they instantly pop off. But apart from that, he's a really, really neat bot, and I'm definitely glad I got this guy. He's fantastic. Nitro Zeus. So that was the first, I don't know, about half an hour I spent there. Oh yeah. And then was one other thing I picked up, Titan's Return figure, Hot Rod. Yeah. Now, Hot Rod is a remold of this guy, Age of Extinction Deluxe Lockdown. However, put the two side by side, there is a huge difference. This guy is a lot bigger. He's also bigger in his car mode. When you transform into car modes, this guy is at least 1 centimetre longer and about 0.5 centimetre wider than his car mode. He's much bigger. Yes, they have reused the mould. I mean, they basically the shins, they reused the lower legs and the feet and a few other bits. But most of this guy is completely remoulded. And I love the way the arms work on this, because on this guy, it's just the side of the car just sort of turned round on a ball joint, and it looks ugly and unsightly. Whereas on this one, the arm, you just turn it round, fold it in half, and there's your arm, and it's got the joints. It's got a universal joint, and it can go whichever way you want. This guy is flush with paint as well. He's got paint on the wheels. He's got lots of paint on his legs, lots of paint on his face. And the thing I really, really like about this, you can't see it, I haven't got a macro on this, but he's actually got a Lamborghini badge on the front of his car mode that you can actually read. And it's tiny, it's about the size of a pinhead, but you can definitely make out the Raging Bull and the Lamborghini logo. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant figure. Yeah, I paid 30 quid for this. And apparently he is actually turning up in Asda stores for about 25 quid. But still, I'm glad I got him. Fantastic reuse of the mould. Brilliant little figure. And far superior to this thing. So yeah, Hot Rod. So that was sort of my in-demand stuff out of the way for the Saturday. So then I joined the queue for the TFNation table because I wanted to get hold of the animated book and the exclusive, TFNation figure. So there was actually 2 lines to the store, and this was just before 10 o'clock, and they weren't actually releasing the TFNation animated trial and error book until after the start of the opening ceremony at 10 o'clock, and I joined the queue just before that. So I got in the queue for the queue for the third party figure, and managed to get me a Rune. Yeah, she's a neat little figure. I was umming and ahhing about getting this, but then I thought, well, it's a convention exclusive. It's a repaint of this first figure from Maas Toys. And I thought, well, yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind having it because of exactly that. It's the first TFNation, official exclusive figure. So I thought it was definitely worth buying for that reason. And she's a neat little figure. She's a fembot as well, so you can't have enough fembots. Unusual engineering on it in a few places, like the shoulders and these sort of kibbly bits on the arms. But apart from that, it's decently articulated, nicely painted, nice head sculpt, great little figure. And then it was announced on the Sunday afternoon that they'd sold out of all the runes. So there are people who obviously didn't get one of these, and I don't think they're going to be making any more. I mean, they said they ran out of the TFNation animated booklets, but they are going to do a second print run of those, so everybody who didn't get one has an opportunity to get one. But I don't think they're extending that to this figure. But Anyway, I'm glad I managed to get hold of mine. And then, last couple of things I bought on the Saturday. Terraegis Rally, Mastermind Creations Perfection series, the Ocular Max convention exclusive repaint of their Terraegis. When I saw this, I mean, it was a convention exclusive at TFCon Toronto about, was it 5 or 6 weeks before TFNation, and I had to get this for 2 reasons. One, I love Toyota Hiluxes, and this is a Toyota Hilux. 2, this Paris-Dakar style livery that's been put on it. Absolutely all over this. Absolutely love it. It's fantastic. Had to get it for that reason, because I've got a little thing for off-road vehicles. As you know, you can see, because I've got, you know, off-road ready control cars, about 170 of them. So yeah, wanted to get this. Kapow had some on their store for 85 quid, so that was near enough. So I managed to get hold of this fantastic little figure. And then the last thing I bought on the Saturday. Now, I've been umming and ahhing about getting this guy for ages now, and I like my Megatron Gunformers, and it was the only one I hadn't got out of the current crop of third-party Masterpiece Megatrons. I got me Apollyon. X-Transbots Apollyon. Yeah. It's quite something. I was putting off buying this guy before because I didn't like the transformation on the legs. I thought the legs were very bitsy, and also the fact that it was X-Transbots' first, you know, effort at doing a masterpiece, a serious masterpiece scale figure, and at the time they weren't known for their build quality, and as was proved with this, with the hip joints and the shoulder joints. But I bought this one from In Demand because In Demand had 2, and there was some other store had another one. They're all for 65 quid. Ideally, I wanted to pay about 50 quid for this guy, but I thought, after speaking with Matt, the toy therapist, he convinced me that I needed to get an Apollyon in my life. So I bought it, and it's all right. Doesn't really peg together that well in gun mode, though. I mean, there's quite a few gaps. There's gaps there. There's gaps there. It is fairly solid, but compared to the other Megatron Gunformers I've got, it doesn't really have that as good a cohesive gun mode as some of the others. But I've got it now. It's another Megatron Gunformer, and it will go with my others when I manage to get a display sorted out for them. But yeah, got hold of him. So that was the Saturday, and I spent, what was it, 550 quid on the Saturday for that little lot. So let's not dwell on that. Let's move on to the Sunday. So back end of Saturday, I went around the dealer hall, and I looked at a few things and sussed out a few targets for the Sunday morning. And come Sunday morning, I moved in and managed to pick them up. First thing was I got in the queue for the TFNation store, because they said they had another allotment of the TFNation animated book. So I managed to get hold of one. Trial and error. Now I have read it. I'm not a fan of animated at the moment because I've only watched a handful of the episodes. I really want to watch the rest of the show, but unfortunately you can't get it on PAL format, or at least the box sets of the seasons 1, 2 and 3 on PAL format. You can only get it on NTSC, and I don't see the point in buying a multi-region DVD player just to watch the American version of the show. But it's a good little book. It's fun reading it because, you know, there's lots of cameos in, you know, background characters in some of the panels of some other characters from, you know, Transformers lore, and it's interesting trying to figure out, you know, who's who in the back of the panels. So it's a really good book. I'm glad I got it. Decent read. So I managed to pick up one of those, fortunately. And then I went over to Toy Fu. Now, there was something on Toy Fu that I'd seen on the Saturday. They had 2 of them. One of them was boxed complete, and the other one was a slightly damaged loose one. The damaged loose one went, so it was only the box complete one. When I got over to the stall, some other guy was already looking at it, and you know, I wanted to buy that thing, and he was there with the money, but he then decided that he didn't really want it and put it down, and I was able to get in there, and I got me Astro Magnum. Yeah, fully working. The guy on the Toy Foo stall put a battery in it for me, and it's fully working. Came complete with box, instructions, and unused decals. So, yeah, it's the Shackwave, or the unofficial, you know, pre-G1 Shockwave. I don't think this is an original Astro Magnum. I think this is a knockoff, but it's really good quality. It's in excellent condition, fully operational, nice tight joints, nothing's broken on it. Fantastic. Absolutely love it. One of the best things I bought all weekend. And while I was on the Toy Foo stall, I also got a little Dark of the Moon Cyberverse Guzzle. Now I'd seen this on the Saturday, and they had a price tag on it of £5, but I'd eyed it up then and says, yeah, I might want to pick that up later on. Come round on the Sunday when I was, you know, going to buy the Astro Magnum. This had been reduced to £2, so definite no-brainer, because it's another one of those figures that goes for a silly price online if you're trying to buy this, because of his involvement with Last Stand of the Wreckers. Guzzle is a bit of a cult character, and there's only 2 toys of him that exist that I know of. There's the G1 and this thing, and this thing is a bit more of an IDW representation, even if it's a bit small. People still like to buy it, and because of that, scalpers prices, baby. He can be quite expensive to get hold of, but I managed to get one for an absolute steal from Toy Foo. And while I was on the Toy Foo stall, obviously they were giving out posters, so I got 2 posters. Now they were also doing that that little booklet which had, you know, that on the cover. I don't know whether they'd given them all away at that point, but I didn't get one of the little booklets that they were giving out, which is unfortunate. But I would have liked to have got one, but I didn't. So hey ho, it was just one of them things. So moving on. Now. The next thing I bought. Again, I'd seen one of these on the Toy Foo stall loose for about 20-25 quid, and it went. But then I noticed that In Demand Toys had some mint sealed ones on their stall for about 40 quid. And I like my Megatron Gunformers, you know. I like these things. And it's one of the few Megatron Gunformers I haven't got. But I decided I wanted to get one, and I wanted to get the Japanese version because it's got more G1 accurate colours. Henkei Megs. Now the reason why I hadn't gone for this guy before was because his gun mode is, it's not a realistic looking firearm, it's looks more like a Nerf gun. However, when I did my original haul, TFNation haul video, and I'd filmed the video and I'd edited it and I was processing it ready for uploading, I got this guy out and had a play with him. I didn't use the instructions to transform this guy. He's got a very, very unusual and unconventional transformation, and if you don't know how it works, it takes ages to figure it out, but it's a very asymmetrical transformation. But what you're left with is this. Now, when I managed to get it into this gun mode, I was blown away. And the reason being, this, my friend, even though it's not a realistic looking firearm, this looks like a gun taken straight out of Borderlands. If you ever played that Borderlands game by Gearbox Software, you'll recognise this design of gun. This looks like a gun that from Dal or Maliwan, 2 of the gun makers from weapon makers from Borderlands. This looks like you could have got it straight out of one of Marcus's vending machines. It just oozes all the characteristics of a gun from Borderlands. It's got all the angles. It's got the gun button, the revolver barrel at the front, a ridiculously oversized scope. It's got angular trigger on it. It's just a gun out of Borderlands. If you was doing a cosplay of a character from Borderlands, just get one of these, paint it up in a gaudy colour, and use it as a Borderlands gun. It just totally works. I mean, for that reason, I could have got the Hasbro one, because that comes in these day glow colours that make it look like a Nerf gun, but that would have worked as well. So I'm absolutely blown away by this. I mean, the robot mode looks fantastic. I mean, it looks like a cross between the G1 and War for Cybertron Megatron with those striking angles and colours that it's got. It's a fantastic looking thing. And this, absolutely love this. Blown away by it. And one of the best bots I bought all weekend. End of. Right, so, yeah. That was that. Then I went to see my mate James at Me and Max Love Toys, and I'd seen a figure that he had a figure on the Saturday that I was really after, so I asked him to put it aside for me because I'd already spent more than enough money on the Saturday, and so he agreed to put it by for me because he's a mate, and went to get it on the Sunday morning. Yeah, Mech Ideas DC02 Geminis, their Twin Twist homage. Managed to get it for 35 quid, which is a steal. Absolutely very, very cheap, because see the prices this guy goes for on eBay. Ridiculous amount of money. Again, because of that connection, that cult connection with Last Stand of the Wreckers. This is an IDW accurate mould, and because of Last Stand of the Wreckers, something happened to Twin Twist in it. I mean, you can get a third party add-on with a damaged face because he gets tortured by is it Overlord, and murdered eventually. But I've got Apex. I wanted Geminis. I managed to get him off my mate for 35 quid, and I'm over the moon with that. Fantastic, James. You've done me a real solid in selling me this figure at that price. Absolutely blown away, mate. Fantastic figure. And then I went over to Kapow, because I noticed on the Sunday they had a bunch of boxed Generations and Universe Deluxe figures going for about 20-25 quid. And I was looking through and I saw a couple of moulds that I hadn't got that I'd wanted to get hold of. So I got me a Generations Sergeant Cup. He's pretty neat. Got me Generations. He's pretty cool as well. And I also got Universe Cyclonus. Yes, this is a very, very fine fella indeed. Not least of which because he's got amazing light piping. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic mould, and obviously it comes with his Target Master partner, Nightstick. So yeah, got him, fantastic. My first hands-on with either of these three moulds, and really good little figures, fantastic transformation. Can't get over how dark the purple is on this guy. He's almost black. I know it is a shade of purple, but it's very, very dark, and I was expecting him to be a little bit brighter than that, but anyway, got hold of him. He was pretty good. And then while I was there was another figure that I picked up. Titans Return Leader Soundwave. Now, I've got Blaster. I picked him up at Rollout Roll Call last year, and so I already had a sort of like a version of the mould. This is just a retool, and to be honest, in his Ghetto Blaster mode, he looks desperately plain. Look, there's hardly any detail on it, and I didn't really want to get it. But then I saw the repro labels that have come out for this guy, and I thought, ooh, yeah, he looks amazing, because not only does it make his Ghetto Blaster look amazing, but when he transforms into his base mode, he basically becomes you know, like a nightclub for Titan Masters. It's got all these you know, sort of like holographic and day glow sort of you know, decals. He's got like a dance floor and all sorts of stuff. It looks absolutely fantastic. So it was one of those where it just made getting the figure worthwhile. Simple reason, because you know, you put the decals on it and it's just a different beast altogether. I mean, that's the reason why I got this guy, to put the repro labels on him. And I'm going to be getting some repro labels for this guy very shortly. A decent, solid enough figure, and I don't mind Soundwave. You know, can always have, can never have enough Soundwaves. So I got him. I'm just looking at the timer, 49 minutes. Oh my god, that's another grueler of a bot haul. But then again, what can you say? So yeah, then it was like I had a couple of quid left, and I decided to buy some G1 figures. So I went back to Toy Fu and got me a G1 Sunstreaker. Now, never played with G1 Sunstreaker before, and to be honest, I was really surprised with the way the transformation works on this guy. He's really cool transformation. I mean, I've got Red Alert, so I've got the side swipe mold, and it's pretty basic. But this guy's got a lot more, you know, things going on with his transformation. It's really sweet, and he came with all his accessories. In fact, he came with all his bits and one extra missile. Now, I don't know who that missile belongs to, but it was in the bag with his bits, so I don't think it belongs to him, because I've been looking up all the parts you get with this guy, and you get the 2 shoulder pieces, the 2 fists, and the arm cannon, but he's got all those. So he came with an extra missile, so if anybody knows what that's for, it's just a plain pointy missile. But yeah, picked him up. Very impressed with him. He's a really cool bot. And then I went to the store next door. What was it called? Combiner Stores, because I was after a G1 Hound, and they had a little G1 Hound. He's very loose. Got chrome wear, loose joints, decal wear. He's got most of his accessories. He's got the shoulder launcher and his handgun, but he hasn't got the is it the 50 cal machine gun mount that goes on the back. That's missing, but apart from that, he's pretty much complete and intact. So yeah, I'm glad I got him. Then I went back to Toy Fu, and they had a little G1 Mirage, so I got him as well. Again, he's loose, tatty, bit of chrome wear, which I've touched up with my Molotov chrome pen. He has the missile launcher, but the circular clip that goes over the wheel axle is busted, but it just about clips on, and he's missing his rifle, but apart from that, he's all there. And then it was I was down to my last 35 quid, and I couldn't figure out what to buy, so I went back to, I was just browsing around, and I went back to James, me and Max Love Toys, and I was looking around, and I saw something in his stall. I had 35 quid left, and there was in this thing he was asking 45 quid for it, so I got it out, and I says, I've seen something I really want, and he says, what is it? And I showed him, and I says, but I ain't got enough money, I'm going to have to go to the cash machine and get some more cash. He says, how much have you got? I says, I got 35 quid. He says, oh no, you can have it, mate, for 35. My mate James, I mean, he at the last auto assembly when I first met him, I got my my Toy World Hegemon and my WST Dinobot set from him, and he gave me like a £5 discount on each of those, and he gave me a £10 discount on this guy. Fans Project Warbot Revolver Core. Now, I like Fans Project's aesthetic, especially their, you know, Function X stuff, and this has got that same sort of, you know, sort of squared off, sort of chunky, blocky sort of aesthetic going on, and I really like it. Plus the fact it's Roadbuster, so you know you could always have more Roadbusters. I've been looking at getting this guy for some time, but the prices I've seen it going for online were a little bit pricey for what I was prepared to pay. And I got it for 35 quid off my mate James. And again, fantastic, you know, deal. And this is the last bot that I bought at TFNation. And if you know what's happening as of tomorrow, it's the bot stop from tomorrow. The bot stop starts tomorrow, so this will theoretically be the last bot, the last plastic I buy before October 1st. So make the most of it. So that's my last bot I bought TFNation. So that was my TFNation stuff out of the way. But still a few other things. On the Sunday afternoon, I was walking around the bar talking to people before they left, and I met up with Dorian, Mr. Vigadef, and had a chat with him. And he said to me, he says, "Oh, did I give you one of my fanzines?" And I says, "No, no one's given me one of your fanzines." And he says, "Oh yeah, you'll have to pass on your address to me and I'll send you one." So I did just that. And he sent me one of these. He sent me one of the RRCO, or Refined Robot Company issue number 1, TFNation limited release, number 47 of 100. He sent me a copy of this, and a mighty fine publication it is too. And I know both Vigadef and Ben, Mr. Waspshot, have been pleased to see people putting this in their hauls. I know it wasn't in my TFNation haul because I didn't have it then, but I've got it now. And yeah, it's a simple little fanzine, but it's very well laid out, great photography, really cool write-ups, fantastic little booklet. Really appreciate it. Thanks for sending it, Dorian. I look forward to the next issue when it comes out. And then on the 19th, I went uptown and bought a couple of comics. So I got Revolutionaries number 7 and To All R1 number 12. Now this is the last issue of To All R1. It's finished now. Basically, Windblade's in a coma. Starscream goes in to her head to help her fight off her demons, blah blah blah. At the end of it, both Windblade and Starscream survive, but there's still a lot of crap going on Cybertron that both of them need to deal with. And they kind of leave it hanging there. I quite like To All R1 because it was current events of stuff that was going on in Cybertron. Now that's finished, I don't know where to go from here. They've got this First Strike series that started up, which is another sort of cross-pollination with the other Hasbro franchises, but it's happening on Cybertron instead of Earth this time. So I don't know where to go for that, but so that's that finished. And then again, Revolutionaries has only got one more issue left to run. That's supposed to finish at issue 8, so I'm looking forward to get that. Not a lot goes, well, nothing majorly interesting goes on in this one. I don't really enjoy where Revolutionaries has been going that much, to be honest. Don't regret getting it, but I'm kind of glad that it's finishing with the next issue. But again, I think there's another series that's going to sort of take on where this has gone. I don't know. We'll have to see. So there's that. So that is everything that I got this month. Yeah. I don't put the prices of how much I've spent in a month, but needless to say, when you take everything into account I bought this month, I spent over £1,000 this month again. So yeah, this video's gone on quite long enough, 57 minutes on the timer. When I've edited it down, it might be a little bit less, but yeah, that's it. That's my August haul. But make the most of it, because next month there probably won't be one, because the bot stop starts tomorrow, and I'll be doing a video for the bot stop tomorrow evening, just to explain again what exactly that entails. One thing I want to say before I sign off, the armband. Now, like I said, or don't know whether I said earlier in the video, I got this and I put it on. And when when they put it on, I put a couple of fingers underneath my wrists so that it would just slide over. And then on the Friday, so it's fairly loose, so I could slip it off. And then on the Friday evening, I was messing around with it, and I accidentally, pulled it up tight like that. So it was fairly tight around my wrist, and I couldn't get it off, and that really annoyed me. And it was quite tight around my wrist for the rest of the weekend. So when I got home, I carefully slipped the toggle so I can now pull the toggle off, and I removed the barbs from the inside because I wanted to get it off without damaging it too much. There's a little bit of a fray in there. But after I removed it, when I got home, for the first couple of days I had this phantom sensation of the wristband still being round my wrist, and it was ever so weird. I can't really explain it. It was almost like it was there the whole time for at least like 3 or 4 days after the convention. It was bizarre, and I'd taken it off on the Monday, and I could still feel it on the Thursday. So yeah, that was just something weird that happened after TFNation. But it was a fantastic convention. The organisers did a brilliant job of running their convention as they did last year, and yeah, I bought some stuff. So yeah. So that has been my haul. It's just gone over an hour. That's been my haul for August. Next month is the bot stop. We'll still be buying comics. I might be placing an order for some repro labels. And there is a third party, well, if you can call it that, a third party stroke KO bot that I've pre-ordered the beginning of the month. That is scheduled for release in back into September, so I might be getting that. Who knows? So yeah, I will leave you with that thought, and I will catch you tomorrow with my first bot stop video. So I will see you then. Goodbye.